Good morning. This
Hello.
is the Sharif Awad from meetingvenus.com. Very happy to welcome Kiara Beltran, actress and model based in California from Mexican origins. Buenos dias.
Buenos días.
How are you, Kiara? Thank you for joining us on the YouTube channel of our website.
Thank you.
And I
Thank you
would
for
like
having
and I want to congratulate you on your acting, modeling, dancing career so far. And first, I want to ask you about your family background. How did you move from the US to Mexico, and then tell me about your world travel and why did you choose to go back to the US and to focus on your career in California and Hollywood?
Of course. So I was born here. My mom is American and my dad's Mexican. And we lived here for a while, but then because of my dad's job, we have to move to Mexico. And that's why I was brought up in Mexico. I've traveled a lot. I've done volunteer work throughout my life, and that took me to different places. And as I love to travel as well. So I've been to more than 25 countries and I've lived in seven of them. And I always wanted something that I was like, okay, I want to travel and work. But then I decided that I wanted to be a doctor. I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. That's what I want to do until I met a clown, and this clown changed my perspective of life. I went to like a conference and they had very successful people in this conference, and then they had this clown and I was like, okay, probably he's here to entertain us. But no, he was there to give us his testimony of his life. And after everything he said, I was like, oh my god, I really need to think about what I want to do with my life. And I decided that I wanted to be an actress. That was the moment I was like, okay, I want to be an actress and this is what I want to do. And my parents were like, no, she's not, she's just momentary, she's going to change her mind, and she's going to be a doctor. But no, I went to Spain to study something else, and I wasn't really happy, and I talked to my dad and I was like, I really want to go to LA. I had looked up different schools and I was like, that's where I want to go. I want to go to LA. So I moved to LA and I've been here for 7 years. In September, it's going to be 7 years.
Yes. Did you visit some countries of the Middle East?
I've traveled to, let's say, a ver, let me think, different places. Uh, I went to Israel. I went to Jerusalem. Um, I went to uh, the Black Sea. Yes. Um, where else? I'm trying to think. I think from that part, that's it.
Yeah, something like Africa, Egypt,
I went to Africa. I
Turkey.
went to Kenya. I went to South Africa. Um, and let's say Italy, London, um, Ireland, Switzerland, um, Prague. Um, I'm like trying to think of the places that I've been to because I wasn't really thinking about that. Vietnam, Singapore, um, and then of course I can go to Latin America, Brazil, Mexico, of course, America, um, Argentina, Uruguay.
Yeah, excellent. Yes, my
Yes.
wife is Colombian, and we live here in Ecuador.
Oh
But
wow, that's
we've been
amazing.
in Egypt for the last 8 years, and we came back to Quito.
That's pretty cool. From Egypt to Ecuador, that's
A
amazing.
long distance, yes.
Yes.
But tell me, how did you manage to venture into modeling first? It's a very competitive career, I think.
Yeah, it's super competitive. That's funny because I was at school, and one of my very close friends, she's she's a model, like a very good model from Kazakhstan, and she was Miss Kazakhstan, so she knew like a lot of modeling. And we were in class together for stunts, like to learn how to fight in movies. And there was this one time that she was like, Kiara, have you thought about modeling? And I was like, no, like I really don't think that's for me. I think it's more, I'm here for acting. And she was like, no, 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 I'll teach you some stuff. And there's this designer, he's looking for models, and I think you should go. And I was like, okay. So she taught me a couple of things, and I went to this event with this very good designer, and there were top models from Russia and Kazakhstan. And they were gorgeous, super tall, super pretty. And I was there and I was like, I have no clue what I'm doing here. Let's figure it out. But everyone was so nice. The models were super nice. And they were like, okay, you do this with the dress and you do this when if it's too long and I don't know what. And I was like, okay, fine. So that was like the first time that I was like that I did runway, because it was like a runway show. And then from then on, I started auditioning for different shows, and I happened to get in those shows, and I ended up going to a show that they had in Warner Brothers that was really really cool. I had a lot of friends who were photographers and were designers, so it was just like one thing led to another, like you're doing one modeling show and then people see you and then they invite you to the next one. But I went to New York. I was in there for Fashion Week, and I think that was the moment I realized, like, oh my God, I love it. It's nice, but it's not for me. This is not the environment. I don't know. It's not for me. There's a lot of things that I love about it. There's a very creative space. People are so excited to show their designs, but I just felt it wasn't for me. So, but those things really opened doors for me in another way. It made me more confident. It taught me a lot of stuff, even the way you learn how to carry yourself. And even for photo shoots, it was very interesting that each photo shoot depending on the designer or the designs, it asks something else from you. So that was really cool. It has taught me a lot. And I still model every once in a while, but I think it's more for like photo shoots, editorial, print, more than runway. I think I left that in the past.
But does it help into getting into the acting business,
Yes.
or at some I think many young men and women can do modeling for a couple of years, and then when they start to grow old, and other come, they decide to focus on acting. I think this what's happening,
Well, I think you
generally.
can do, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of models that are actors, and like I have one on the top of my head, like Cara Delevingne. She's a model and she's an actress and she does both, and she does a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of actors that model as well, like Zendaya. Like she's really good at that, at doing both. So I think like you can do both, or you can choose. You can be a model or you can be an actor. At the end of the day, it's up to you. But I do think that everything you do in life helps you to follow your dreams. And I feel like I didn't choose exactly to be a model, it just happened. But I do think that it has helped me with a lot of stuff for acting. And as I was telling you, it's like the way you carry yourself, the way you learn how to be confident, the way you learn to accept your body. Because a lot of times it's like you're gonna be with people that are gonna tell you that you're not pretty enough, or you're not thin enough, or they don't really like you for their designs. And you have to accept that it's fine. They don't like you, but to know that you're enough, no matter if they don't like you and they think you're not good enough for them. It's a lot of, oh, this industry is hard. You have to learn how to take rejection and to understand that sometimes it has nothing to do with you. So I do think modeling has helped me for my acting career in one way or another. I just decided that that's not the environment that I want to be in. And there's nothing wrong with that environment. It's just, it's not for me.
Of course, of course. Every one of us maybe have tried something, a university and switch, or a job and he doesn't like it, change career. So I think this is natural in arts. But tell me, I see your first film was Redemption. It was a short film, like in 2014, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And was it your first acting experience?
So when I went to school, I went to the New York Film Academy, and we had this when we got there, the first day. I think it was the first day of school. They had this activity that you had to sort of audition in front of the filmmakers, the ones that wanted to study filmmaking. And we did this thing, and I started to get along with the filmmakers. They actually had a joke. I'm i'm a nerd, so I used to go to school from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. I was always at school trying to learn. When I got there, I realized that has this has something to do with the fact of you saying that Redemption was my first film. I'm gonna get there, I promise. They had a joke of that I was one of the actresses from Hollywood back in the time where they signed a contract with the studios and they did all the films from the studio, right? So they were like, Kiara is our actress that always does all our films, because they would shoot different films out of fun to learn how to be a filmmaker. And I was always up for it. I was like, yeah, 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 I'll do it with you guys. Let's try to like find out how to do these things and how to shoot a film. So they would cast me for different things, and I was always with them trying to learn how the camera worked, how acting worked, because a lot of my classmates were really talented. I remember arriving to school and saying, "Oh my god, I don't know anything." And these people are so talented because they used to go to not drama school, but they had a theater program in high school, and I didn't have that. So for me it was like everything was new, so I wanted to learn as much as I could, and I would spend a lot of time with the filmmakers shooting their films. And Redemption was one of them. That was one of my first films, and that was like a class exercise that I happened to be in, and each one of them, each short film, has led me to where I am right now.
And I saw on the Internet Movie Database your show reel. You have a couple of show reels,
Yes.
and some of them are Spanish-speaking roles. So
Yes.
those were filmed in the United States or outside?
That's funny. They were actually filmed here in LA. Yes.
They were American productions, and you play like a Latina, Mexican,
Yes.
or uh yes,
So here
uh,
here in the United States, we have Telemundo, and Telemundo is a big
yes.
network for Latinos. So that was one of the shows that I did in Spanish, and also I did a short film, Hunter, with an Indian director who wanted to do it in Spanish. So we were like, okay, let's shoot it. So he he actually had someone translate the script for him, and of course if we happen to see like, hey, we wouldn't say this, we would say this, he was open to change it. But I remember like that was one of the first projects that I did in Spanish, and it was with an Indian director, which was pretty cool. It was one of the best experiences I've had so far in LA. I had so much fun.
Yes, Hunter, I see it. It was screened in several festivals.
Yes.
The director is a native American Indian, and his name is Shashank Varma,
Yeah,
correct?
Shashank.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. But tell me, do you think right now short film festival as well, is like it's a way of exposure for a new up and coming actress like you, or they disappear a lot after festival circuits, rather than films, they can get on cables, they get on satellite, stuff like that. What do you think?
Look, I think a lot of things have changed during the pandemic, but I'm going to speak from my experience before the pandemic because it's things have changed, right? I loved to go to film festivals. I thought it was the best way to network with people because they actually got to see your work. And it was amazing to find people from all over the world who were doing different types of things. Like they wanted to be actors or writers or producers or filmmakers. So you got to know a lot of people from all over the industry at different levels. Like I remember this one, I went to the Panamanian Film Festival and it was amazing to see an actress that I loved because I she's part of a TV series that I love. And when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, like she's going to screen her film next to mine. And that's a huge thing, like a huge accomplishment to see an actress that has had a career and she's there, like at the film festival. And it was a new film festival for Latinos. So I feel like if you're Latino or if you are from, how do I say this? Like from background that you feel doesn't have, like if you're African American, if you're Indian, if you are Latino, if you are Asian, there's like a lot of film festivals that are trying to create a network of people that can collaborate with each other and create projects at the same time to enhance our culture, to show the world what we have to offer and to show different stories that haven't been told. So I feel like when you go to those film festivals, people are looking for the same thing. They are looking to expand their careers. They're looking to meet other people that want to do the same things that they want to do. So it's an amazing opportunity to get to go to these film festivals and showcase your work because they're going to get to see what you've done, and you can at the end of it like get to know other people and exchange information and create different projects. But with the pandemic, that changed a lot because a lot of this of these film festivals were being screened. So it was like, yeah, things changed, and it's not like you can see one another in person and get to talk to each other. I mean, you can, but it has changed, and I guess people are adapting to it. I know some film festivals are taking place in person, and that is changing, and that will change. But I don't know. Honestly, I haven't been to a film festival since the pandemic, so I wouldn't really know what how things are right now. I can tell you from what I've been reading about film festivals, but back in the day before the pandemic, I would highly suggest it. It was I've made a lot of connections because of film festivals.
Yes. Most of the festivals last year were canceled or even done online, and
Yes.
I've been in some online juries last year as well. They want us to see the films and file everything online. But right now, I see that you're having two films in post production. One is called Tomorrow, and one is called Lulu. They were from last year or before the pandemic.
So, Lulu was filmed before the pandemic. That was actually pretty cool because I got to be the assistant director of the film, and I got a small part. Even though we say that there's no small parts, I got a small part in the film, and it was amazing. I had a lot of fun. I love acting, so I'm always gonna say that that's one of my favorite projects. But Lulu is very special to me because we were on set for, oh my God, how many weeks? It was like 4 weeks or 6 weeks. I don't remember because this was like 2 years ago. But it was a whole experience because I was there on set every day with the crew because I was part of the crew. And some days we would be there from 5 a.m. till very late trying to like, get everything together for the next day. And I would go home and I would still work on the project, on the call sheets, on the information that the actors needed to know or the crew needed to know. And every day was a constant thing of like, okay, this happened, so how are we going to make the next thing happen? And we always had to be on top of our feet and on top of everything. So it was like, it was an amazing experience. And tomorrow was shot by a filmmaker that I really admire. His name is Kellen Gibbs, and I really, really admire his work. And he shot it during the pandemic. So he texted me one day and he was like, Kiara, can you help me out with this? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I also got a small part in that film, but he's an amazing filmmaker. I know he's gonna go really, really far. And I went to set, and actually two of my very close friends were there. They were acting as well. So I had a lot of fun being on set with two of my closest friends, and they're so talented. So it was like an honor to be part of that and see them act, because they are really, really good.
Excellent. I look forward to seeing these two films. But my last question to you, being exposed to different culture, worked in and studied in several countries, and of course you've been exposed to cinema and literature, maybe theater from different countries. Tell me, do you have a dream role you want to perform? Something you have read, or something you have seen, or like a great female role you are looking for?
That's an amazing question. I have a lot of things that I want to do. There are things that I'm like, oh, I wish I could do this, but I feel like I'm never gonna do it because I'm Mexican and I look the way I look. I don't look Latina. So that has been a thing, right? But there's this book that it's called Dime Quién Soy. It's it takes place in Spain, and it takes place in different places of the world, of Europe. um it's about the civil war in Spain, and it ends, I believe, in the Cold War of Russia. So it guides you through all these events that happened, and it's just an amazing book. An amazing book. And I always I it's one of my favorite books, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I wish I could be part of something like that." I love historical novels. So for me, something that it's like a period piece would be amazing. But I also love action films. I grew up with four brothers, so of course Kiara had to watch action films to be part of the gang. And I love superhero stuff. I love um like Lord of the Rings, something that it's like action, but at the same time it's like a period piece, and it's fiction, and it takes place in like a magical world. So I would love to be part of that. I was actually talking to my parents about the dream roles that I have. I wanted to be a doctor, so something like Grey's Anatomy wouldn't hurt me. I would love to be in a show like that. um there are so many things that I want to do, but basically period pieces, action films, um fantasy or fiction, like like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, or something like that, because I'm a geek. And something that has to be with medical stuff. So yeah, I have a list of stuff that I would love to do.
Yes, but let me tell you that a lot of actors or actresses who've been of Latin origin, sometimes they do a role, and it doesn't matter that in this role or in this narrative of this film, they are Latino, you know? And I remember right now that you look very much like Maria de Medeiros from Portugal. And if you remember, she co-starred in Pulp Fiction with John Travolta and Bruce
John
Willis.
Travolta.
Great film, by Quentin Tarantino.
Hmm.
And her role, it doesn't say she's Latin or something like that. And she did, of course, a lot of films in Europe and France with Pedro Almodovar in Spain. So I think also with some makeup you can play other type of roles.
You're right. You're right. Hopefully, that would be an honor.
Okay, Kiara, I want to thank you very much for this interview. Very happy we were online, and I wish you all the best in the upcoming period. A lot of opportunities. Hope to see you in new feature films or telenovelas. And let's keep in touch and speak about, maybe you can talk to us from the set of your new film soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been an honor being part of this. Thank you so much.
Likewise, have a lovely day.
You
And a
too.
lovely weekend.
You
Bye
too.
bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.